It was your boy's birthday just a few days ago, guys, so I've got a code right now on my website to give you 25% off everything, ropes, apparel, merch, all things, right? Use VIP25 to get yourself 25% off. Go online right now, that's only for a limited time only. And as always, I appreciate all your love and support. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to use your speed ropes correctly. Now, I got the idea for today's video from a message that I received on YouTube, right? He or she writes, why can I make figures and tricks with my legacy rope, i.e. crossovers, southpaw, double unders, but when I do the same with my money rope, it's quite hard. Now, if you're someone who has never used a speed rope and heavy rope together, this may not make a lot of sense, but hopefully when you guys check my links and check my website and you go and copy yourself the money rope or the legacy rope or the Nova rope that I'm about to show you as well, you're going to understand that there's some key differences, not just the weight in the rope, but how it also moves through the air and how it affects your ability to create and perform tricks. Now, the thing with the speed rope, guys, and why people find this tricky is it's lighter, it's thinner, and it comes around a lot quicker, okay? So for example, I'm used to speed ropes simply because it's the first rope that I picked up when I was learning. Now, someone who starts to pick up or use heavy ropes, so I'm gonna grab the Nova rope here. If you're someone who trains with heavier ropes to get the other kind of benefits, the usual benefits, like more endurance, more strength, a lot more resistance, it's also gonna obviously create a quicker sweat, burn more calories, those kind of things. If you're someone who starts to use these, you're gonna start to realize that actually it seems to feel easier, especially to do tricks like crossovers, to time your feet up, to not even trip so much. And that's simply because there's more weight and feel around the handles. And this is gonna help you time your jumps better. It's gonna help you understand where the rope is whilst you're jumping, whilst you're skipping. That in turn makes the timing element for your feet work better. Because as we mentioned before, I'm gonna keep switching between both ropes. As I mentioned before, the speed rope being lighter is gonna come around quicker. So your feet have to obviously move faster or move in a different way. So here's 3 ways, okay, how you guys are gonna use your speed ropes better. So the first one, guys, is using knots on your speed rope. This is something that I've always been an advocate for, I've always promoted, and I've always done, right? So when it comes to sort of speed rope training for me, the reason why I can sort of time, get a feel, create these kind of combinations, for me personally, it's really helpful when I have knots on my ropes, okay? Just by the handle, not too close to the handle, about 1 inch, 2 inches at least, sometimes 3. Having knots around your handles, people, it gives you the chance to get more feel in your hands, and obviously when you're turning the rope, that feel then translates into better footwork, better timing, and it almost feels like the heavy rope, not quite obviously, because the rope itself will still be light, but for me, you get that feel and that sensation and feedback where the rope is at every point in that revolution, in the arc, and then you can sort of understand how to skip and jump better with it. So what I talk about a lot on this channel is how we use the wrists. Now, a lot of people are quite armsy when it comes to using speed ropes. And when you become armsy, it not only looks awkward, but it will lead to more trips simply because you're not creating nice loops, all right? So you need to learn how to use your wrist better and keep everything a little bit more quiet, especially your elbows, your forearms. They kind of need to stay a little bit closer to your body, and then you're really creating bends and turns in your wrists, okay? You gotta think about, especially, let's say if you've got a rope and you wanna sort of whip someone with it, you gotta use a lot more wrist action rather than arm action if you're gonna wanna hurt them, all right? Now, that's probably a bad example to use, but that's the kind of feel you want. You want wrist snapping feels, and positioning is super important. So when you're doing things like crosses, guys, and you're using a speed rope, because it's lighter in weight, like I said before, you've gotta create the momentum. So the momentum is created by having soft grips, okay? Soft handle grip pressures. You need to be able to just have these very loose in your hands, which then allows you to turn the wrists nice and softly. If you just grip this to death, right? Create tension in your forearms, get armsy with it. You know, they mentioned double unders in the question, why they struggle. And you're gonna have to learn to just have this nice, smooth action. And that all comes from just nice, loose, noodle type arms, right? Nice, feel floppy a little bit, but it's more from the wrist action, because with the heavy rope, when you're doing things like double unders, if I grab the Nova again, when you're doing things like double unders, again, you don't really have to think about your wrist positionings too much, or your sort of how your wrists work, because the rope just naturally pulls you with it. So your wrists are kind of just going along for the ride. Whereas with a speed rope, you have to create the whip, the momentum, and make sure that your arms and your hands are in the right position. So just keep that in mind. That's just how you're going to practice with a speed rope to create the perfect wrist conditions. With a speed rope now, I want you to now feel like you're jumping on eggshells, right? You need to feel like you're on the balls of your feet every single time. You jump, heels off the floor, and you got to feel like you're almost springing off the floor. So we can start to feel a lot lighter on our feet, peeps, because if you start to let your heels drop, feel heavy, and you're just jumping like this, you might be able to hear it on the microphone, just like breaking the floor. But if you jump like this, flat-footed, you're not gonna have enough time when the rope comes around to jump back up and clear it. So you gotta feel springy, soft landing. Again, feel like you're bouncing or jumping on the eggshells, soft with your feet, tippy toes, just feel that, balls of your feet, start to feel nice and light. Then you can start to manage the speed of this rope, especially with all your nice new feels with your wrists that we've been talking about. You'll start to realize that actually learning with the speed rope, as well as something like the Nova or the Legacy rope, having them all together as part of your workout, you'll make sure you get the best kind of overall benefits, what I'm trying to say, out of skipping, all right? I don't just train with speed ropes when I go to the gym. Sometimes I mix it up, take a heavy rope with me in my bag. All depends what I'm trying to train. When it comes to tricks or crosses, doubles, that kind of thing, you can learn to get it all done with all types of ropes, especially if you have these sort of three main key foundations and basics locked in. As always, thank you so much for your love and support. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see and I'll get it done for you guys. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video as usual. So until next time, take care of yourself, skip the treadmill, stay safe. Peace.
Was the knight in shining armor in your movie? Would put your lips on mine and love the aftertaste now.